Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So the big news is that Hulk is going to be a part of Thor Ragnarok. It started out as a little bit of a rumor, then it started to be confirmed by the trades. So if you weren't sure, it is definitely a thing now. That doesn't necessarily mean they're doing any kind of Planet Hulk storyline. Remember, Universal still has the distribution rights for solo Hulk films. So Marvel, Disney, not going to release any solo Hulk films till they get 100% of the profit participation. That's like a whole other story. It's just the Disney is like the largest distributor of movies in the world, so they don't like to give money to other people if they don't have to. And naturally, they don't have to do it in the case of Hulk, so they're just going to wait it out. Mark Ruffalo, though, is getting older by the day, and they said that there was so much stuff going on in Captain America Civil War that he just didn't make final cut. They had to cut him out of the film. So naturally, you can't have Hulk ride the bench for the entirety of Phase 3. So Thor Ragnarok just makes sense. Just remember this scene from the first Avengers film. Think about what they can do with Hulk on a planet full of Asgardians. Suddenly, the fact that they can heal so fast makes so much sense now. It's gonna be like whack-a-mole with Thor's hammer, just like pounding them into the ground one at a time. It's been a little while since I made a Thor video, but what they've been saying about Ragnarok is that it's closer to Jack Kirby's Ragnarok than the Civil War clone. There's been a lot of confusion about that. The minute that they announced it as a film, people were like, are they going to clone Thor? Is this going to be from Civil War? Because they're doing Civil War the movie. During Civil War, Thor's going to be off-planet dealing with what's going on in Asgard. Dealing with the visions that he had during Avengers Age of Ultron about the Infinity Stones. In his absence, it's totally possible that they could try to replicate his power somehow, not expecting any kind of cloning though. That would be like creating another version of Ultron. It'd be like recycling that storyline where Tony Stark accidentally creates a monster. So no Civil War Ragnarok clone. The story behind Jack Kirby's Ragnarok is actually really interesting. Obviously the movies are going to change a whole bunch of stuff. They always do it just to make it a little bit simpler, a little bit more linear. But what happened during Jack Kirby's Ragnarok is that his original intention was to bring in the new gods and have them replace the Asgardians in Marvel Comics' pantheon of characters. Like the place that the Asgardians, like Thor, Odin, that they held in the comics would become the new gods that ended up showing up at DC Comics. It's just that Jack Kirby's contract, like he signed a contract with DC when this was all going on. It was like a small feud with Marvel. So he's like, fine, I'll take the new gods to DC and we'll do them over there. So Ragnarok was kind of like this house cleaning event for Marvel. They wanted to kill off a bunch of the Asgardian characters they didn't like, and the ones that did come back just came back that much more hardcore. They do it almost every single year with the big event, just like they're doing with Battleworld right now. Battleworld is kind of like a trans-dimensional version of Ragnarok. But the big thing during that is that Thor died and was reborn. Some of the comic book storylines I'm going to talk about might be spoilery, so just potential spoilers for Marvel's Civil War in the comics. Not the movies, just the comics. There's a lot of talk about Captain America maybe dying, Bucky taking the mantle. There have been so many times that different characters have died and other characters have taken their mantle in the comics that it's really hard to predict what Marvel's going to do. I think a lot of it just depends on which actors re-sign their contracts. Now, if you remember, Kevin Feige just took Marvel Studios to like its own separate place at Disney. They essentially have autonomy now from the rest of Marvel's operation. Kevin Feige has like his own protective bubble to make really awesome movies. That means that he can treat his stars a lot nicer so they don't all bolt for the door the minute their contracts are up, so that they can earn more money at a different studio doing other movies. I mean, at some point, eventually one of these core Avengers is going to say, okay, I'm good. I've made like 10 billion Avengers movies. I don't need to do this anymore. Please kill me off and fill my spot with another character. Well, that's kind of what Phase 3 is about, just like opening up the roster to new characters. But just jumping back to Thor Ragnarok, what the hell is going on in this movie? As in, Loki has been masquerading as Odin, using Asgard as his own personal base of operations, probably going to have to pay the piper, as in Thanos, who's probably going to come and try and raid Odin's weapons vault. And then you have other big characters like big cosmic villains like Fire Lord Surtur. Way back in the continuity, Odin trapped Fire Lord Surtur with the help of his two brothers that ended up dying, but in the course of events, he was infused with their life force energy, and that became the Odin Force. If you want to read like some of those really old classic Thor stories, most of it is on Marvel Unlimited. It's really cool if you have a couple weekends to burn. There's a lot of it. But essentially, think of Hulk's presence in Thor Ragnarok as like Robert Downey Jr.'s presence in Captain America Civil War. It's still going to be a Thor movie. Hulk is just going to be a very important part of it. It's just that in Captain America, even though Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr., major actor, he is really like a smaller part of the film than Captain America is. It's still a Captain America film. But you guys can let me know, like, what do you want to see Hulk do with Thor in this movie? Obviously, he's a good character, so he's going to be fighting with Thor against Loki and, whoever else is causing trouble in Asgard. Hopefully, Fire-Lord Surtur. I'm hoping for like a mega cosmic villain. That would be awesome. Just expect them to deliver on the promise of the title, Ragnarok, just complete destruction. And just in case there's any confusion about what happened to Hulk at the end of Avengers Age of Ultron, really, like, they left it ambiguous so that they could do whatever they want to with him. Like, if something like this happened, they could be like, oh, he went to space. Or if they didn't want him to go into space, they could be like, oh, it went to the bottom of the ocean and he just bailed out. That's the thing about Kevin Feige and Marvel, is like they have a plan for every single character for every single contingency. So like if an actor bails on a contract or if they become available all of a sudden, they just have multiple ideas for character arcs depending on who's around and what the circumstances are whenever they're actually making these films. It's actually pretty clever, but this is like $1 billion industry, so of course they're going to have contingency plans. So until you hear otherwise, Hulk is still on planet Earth. They will probably address what's going on with him during Captain America's Civil War. They might just mention it, but we probably won't see him. If we get really lucky, they might totally pull an Illuminati and shoot him into space. But the problem is that you would have to establish why they would shoot him into space. And in the comics, it was because he freaked out. Like they would have done it after this Johannesburg sequence when he went apeshit on everybody and destroyed the city. Just more changes from the comic books that Marvel's gonna have to deal with in the movies. They usually do a pretty good job of explaining things, so I'm not super worried. But I just had a chance to see Loki in Crimson Peak, which is a totally badass movie, so I'll probably do a review for that after Doctor Who on Saturday. Be sure to subscribe to get that. Tom Hiddleston is awesome in it. Jessica Chastain, though, she is queen. She is the best part of that movie. I still have a Walking Dead Q&A to do, so I'll try to get that out next, and then there should be Doctor Who, maybe a couple trailer videos in there somewhere. There's just like a lot of really awesome footage for everything that's coming right now. It's like the best time of year. So while you guys wait for all the rest of that stuff to post, click here to watch the Daredevil Season 2 trailer again. Watch it like 10 more times. It's going to be so awesome. Punisher is going to kick so much ass. And you can click here to learn all about Fox and Marvel coming to an arrangement to do 2 new TV shows based on X-Men properties. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.